G'day, guys, and welcome back to another Thursday night for a live stream. So, very appreciative of you turning up, and it looks like we're off to a good start already. 48 people have already joined in. So, you can find us on YouTube, of course, and Patreon, and Instagram, and Facebook, and Parler. So, we've actually become the #1 gun live stream on YouTube for Australia. So, and that's all because of you guys, which I really, really appreciate. So I'll just bring Jason in here, and go, Jason. How are you?
What's going on, man? Starting to heat up. I don't like this heat.
I know you're telling me this week anything over 20 degrees is too hot, and we're averaging about 28 to 30 degrees here at my place. So I think if you come up for a bit of a shoot and out to the station this summer, you're going to die.
I know. I need a haircut too. It's getting a bit woolly, man. I think I need a haircut this week, so got to maintain it for the live streamers, man. So, but we're going to talk about the time frames, and probably people are probably wondering why we're starting at 7:30. So we're trying to have a bit of a compromise. But I guess you might ask them the question: what do you guys like? Because Aaron's obviously in Queensland, I'm in New South Wales, so it's What suits you guys better? 7 o'clock New South Wales time, 7 o'clock Queensland time. Is it a good, compromise in between at 6:30 Queensland, 7:30 New South Wales? Let us know in the comments. Or you think we should stay the same or change it over? What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. It is a bit stuffed up, really. I would love daylight savings time that you have down there. That would be awesome for me. I think it's fantastic, but it's Bob Catter keeps crying every year about we can't change it. And there's always a thing every year about, okay, cut Queensland in half. Top half can stay the same, and the bottom half near the New South Wales border, where I am, can be the same time zone as you guys, which I think would be a lot better. So, guys, yeah, we definitely want to know, what would you prefer? We're trying to start 6:30 Queensland time and 7:30 New South Wales time, which is also Victoria time. Does that work for you, or we just don't know? We've been talking about this for about 2 hours on the phone before we started tonight. But I just want to say a big thank you to Lockie, who has donated $15 so far to start the night off. Thank you very much, Lockie. I really do appreciate that. So yeah, let us know. It's just been, it's really hard for us to judge the times. Like, I think if we start too early in Queensland, people are still driving home. And as you said, Jason, if we start too late at your time, people are going to want to go to bed early.
Yeah, well, that's right. Good news here too. Andy 1234777 says, evening. Just quickly, you asked for an update on my mate's license suspension due to the COVID breaches. Today, he had a decision overturned and got his gun license back. Well done.
Oh, awesome! That is really good news. Let's hope they don't, play on the whole thing future down the line when he tries to reapply. That is awesome. We're seeing a lot of new people here. I've seen quite a few people. Harp 666, Chris here. He's a new guy. Quite a few. Jackal Craig, or Jake Craig. Terry Walters.
Jackal. He's the Jackal.
Yeah, Jack. He's Jackal. Yeah. So, so it's good to see a few new people here. So it's been an interesting week. So what have you been up to, Jason? Give us a rundown of your week.
Mate, not much this week. What really annoys me is the rain. I was supposed to go down next week to bust some rabbits again. Remember on the last trip, it was pissing down for that cold and wet. And, it doesn't look good for next week. So I'm probably going to have to put it back another week, because Friday, I think 6 mils, Saturday, 9 mils, Sunday, 10 mils. So, mate, forget that next week. That's for sure. Might even have to go a week further back again, but just because I want everything to dry out. I don't know what's going on, man. Every time I want to go hunting, it's got to start raining, which just buzz off. Rain's good for the farmers. I get all that, but it's not good for my hunting. So anyway, what do you do? I bought a bunch of rounds too. I'm not sure I spoke about that last week. Been loading back on the 87 grain VMAX for the 243. and just bought 1,000 rounds of the 140 grain ELD match. So I might try them in the 260, see if I can get the same pop factor as the 143 grain ELDX in that 260. So still got about 300 ELDXs out and 200 currently loaded. So I probably won't be loading those 140s for probably a year or so. But anyway, wanted to get them cheap because, as we know, a lot of stock's not coming into the country. A lot of primers are hard to get. Scopes are really hard to get until late November, early December. They told me that you're not going to be able to buy bulk projectiles soon. They're going to be in lots of 100. So if you want to buy up now, I'd be getting in now, guys, before shit hits the fan and we're not going to, get any stock into the country or just be very limited.
Yes, definitely. But then it depends how you buy them. I buy mine, the Sierra Match Kings, and they come in 500 or they come in 100 boxes. It's just how they make them. So it all depends on how you do buy them. But yes, I've heard everything from people overseas. Like 9mm in the US is averaging 43 cents a pop right now. That's more, like almost double what we pay here. So how often do you ever hear of that?
Yeah, it's crazy at the moment. I mean, we've got a lot to talk about tonight, haven't we?
Yes, we have. We have. I'll just throw a couple of quick topics out there that I've been messaged on this week. Remington Firearms, all broken up, basically all gone. So every part of Remington has been sold off or about to be sold off. From Ruger has bought the Marlin brand from them. So I'm assuming Naya's going to end up with Marlin over here instead of Raid Trade. It's only speculation, but that's what I'm hearing in the industry. Federal has brought the Remington ammunition, and it all comes down to the left wing Colorado, where they were going to be sued for the Sandy Hook because the idiot mass shooter used the AR-15 from Remington. So that was big news. So Remington is basically only a shell of what they used to be, the oldest firearm producer in America.
That was Connecticut, not Colorado.
Connecticut. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Connecticut. My fault. And we do have a couple of new. Chris Miller here has sent something through. My gun shop is now doing click and collect. I can pick up my Hornady loading kit next week and all the ammo I could get my grubby hands on. Good stuff, Chris. Chris has just brought the Lithgow 105 and he's topped it off with a very nice scope. He had problems with our Leupold, actually. One of the first times I've heard a major problem with Leupold scopes, but he did have a problem there. So that's fantastic. Thank you very much for that super chat, Chris. And we have Ollie Bren. I haven't seen him on here before. Thank you very much for tuning in. I will be here till the end tonight. Love RDO tomorrow. Oh, great. I wish I had RDOs.
You bastard. We can't get an RDO.
Yeah, I can't complain. I work for myself, so if I want time off, I just take time off. And that's quite funny. This week, I showed the completed bar that I actually built, which I can bring up here in a second. I've been renovating my house. I completed a bar, and I got hundreds and hundreds of messages about it, how I built it, and what I did. And a few people actually commented I should start another channel called Building Stuff Australia about all my building projects. So
good. It looks like Chris, mate. Looks like Chris is cashed up, mate. We'll just start heading to Chris's house to go hunting. He's got deer right on his doorstep.
We're still waiting. Victoria.
Like Chris, we're still waiting, mate. We want to hit some deer. Aaron's got to get his. Have you shot a deer before? I don't know if you have. Have you shot a deer? I don't think you have.
I shot one with Marty years ago, and it was on top of a cliff face, like on a ledge down from a cliff, and I blasted him actually with the Remington 7615. Pumped him full of lead, and he went down, but we just couldn't get up there. So we weren't kitted out for caping it, so we just left it there, and we couldn't get up there anyway to even have a look.
Yeah,
so
right.
I know I've got one, but that's it. But I couldn't verify it.
Oh, well, as they say, if you can't verify, that means no.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, buddy. I tend to agree with you there.
As they say, like I used to have a mate like that. Like he was a nice dude, but man, he could tell some bullshit. I shot this, I shot that. I said, well, surely you got photos. I'd love to see him. Oh, I didn't take photos. Yeah, and then you got to know, man, this guy was just full of shit. Nice guy, but just man, I don't know why he would say that, but anyway, I said, mate, surely you got a picture of that good sized boy you got. Oh, I didn't have my camera on that one. I said, man, he doesn't have a phone. This is like 2 years ago. Who doesn't have a phone?
I agree with you totally. I know I got it, but I couldn't verify it, so I'm not going to claim it. That's one thing I can't do. Can't claim anything I don't do. So, yeah, not good.
A lot of people in, Bagara, friend Bagara's back on, Megan. We've got Peter. A lot of people on at the moment, mates. Bagara, Ross Hanley. Who else we got on there? Longbowman, 89. Haven't seen him before. Sorry if you have been on there, but we haven't seen him. Oh, Panaplexi's back. Colin Penfold, our buddy Colin. Of course, Chris Miller. We've got Chris DeLabra. I've seen him before. Kay Lucas. Harps 666 is back. Happy Hunter, of course, our buddy. Heaps on here. Aussie Shooters back again. Sorry if I've missed you guys. I'm just scrolling to the bottom. So a lot of people on again. 103.
Yeah, we got it's a good start. It's probably one of the best starts. So let's get this over. Was it 209 people? I think was our record so far. So phone in a mate, get them here, get them online, and let's boost our numbers up to the best show we ever had tonight. Because Jesus, we got some very opinionated opinions tonight about several things. We got Peter here from the NSC. And we've just been talking about the NSC between you and me, haven't we, Jason?
Yeah, we've just been talking about this gel blaster stuff. So I probably say we get into that right now. We'll have a bit of a chat about that. Looks like the South Australian police, just beggars belief, have gone full potato. And, I'm really getting worried, man. I really am. Like, someone messaged me about it today on Instagram, and man, I don't like to be negative because, I try to be a bit more positive these days and thinking, maybe 5 years ago we had a chance of trying to do some stuff and trying to, get some results. But, you just see this stuff every single day happening and guns being banned. And I just start to think, man, sorry.
Oh,
still there, mate?
I may have cut you. Yeah, I think I may have cut you off here. Sorry. My fault. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
I just brought up the article.
I was going to say, I see all this stuff and, it's just start to think, man, are we even going to be shooting in 10 to 15 years? Are they going to take all our guns off us? That's what I'm starting to feel really is the likely scenario that, probably lever actions and straight pulls will be next. And then eventually you're just going to have nothing, man. It's just like, I can't see it going any other way. And if we're just not winning anything, like we're winning small wins. The guys are getting their COVID guns back. That's fantastic, but that's not pushing back on some of this, really, really bad legislation. And, we've got people in Parliament, but they're just not achieving any results, man. It's just, that's the reality. People might get upset about that. I'm sorry about that, but that's the truth. Again, if you just take away the emotion and look at what's been achieved, we don't have any achievements, so, and for the last 10 years, it's been pretty bad. It's been, one progression after the other, worse, to the point now they're banning toys. That's where we're at now. So they're willing to ban toys. Of course, they're going to ban other types of guns as well, which they already are in Western Australia, which is very, very sad. So maybe you can have you got the article up there? It might cut me off, but you can talk over it and let people have a look at that first.
Okay, we do have the article here. We'll just run through it. One thing I noticed about the article that didn't say about safe storage. So basically they're saying in South Australia, you've got to get a gun license now to hold a gel blaster. I'm in Queensland, so far they haven't fucked us over, but it's only coming. So this is a plastic gel blaster. You can see it's plastic, a piece of junk. This is actually broken. The charge handle broken on it. It's meant to be an MP5. It's never worked. I've had several that one actually caught fire. So they're not great quality, cheap plastic, as you can tell. They holds little balls. Actually, I made some ammunition up. Now, this is classed as ammunition. Look, fucking ammunition. For God's sake.
It's bad. You got a super chat there. This brings us back to one of our points too on the super chat from Carlton East. Carlton East, obviously Carlton East. That down Victoria, or his name's Carlton, one or the other.
Yep, actually, I'm having problems here. The gels have actually stuffed my computer. I've got to try. Hang on. I've got to shrink
Let me
it.
read it. I'll read it. I can read it from here. It says, Carlton East, g'day, gents from WA. Just wanted to say thanks for the work you both put into Firearms content. Just wish there were more and we could do more against the NFA. Mate, totally agree. Totally agree. We've seen the political spectrum just be a waste of time, complete and utter waste of time. Sure, I still vote pro-gun, but I'm also under the under any illusions that that's actually going to achieve anything. We just don't have enough people, and it's been 25 years since 1996, or 24 years almost, and we just don't have enough people. And even of those, say, 15 that actually believe the NFA's gone too far, how many of those people and parties actually agree to get rid of the NFA? How many of them actually agree with self-defense? How many of them agree with getting rid of registration? How many of them agree with getting rid of those appearance laws? How many of them actually agree with getting suppressors? And you'll find, as I said, most of them, one way or another, disagree with everyone on each, one of those particular issues, whether it's registration or semi-automatics or pump-action shotguns for duck hunting or 5-shot semi-automatics for duck hunting, say, in Victoria, for an example. We can't even get a consensus from our pro-gun parties that even want those types of things. So, yeah, man, it's pretty bad at the moment. I mean, of those 15, I might classify 3 of those actually to be the pro-gun, where I think would be reasonable to get some sort of change. And 3 people is just not good enough to do anything. So, and half these parties have agreed they won't work with each other anyway, even some of the pro-gun parties, especially during the last New South Wales election, probably, 18 months ago. Parties didn't want to agree to each other to work together and weren't going to work together on firearms policy. So, fuck, what chance do you have, man? It's just a shit show, man, really. And, taxpayers are paying to have these people in Parliament. And at the end of the day, they don't have any power, which is sad to say, but it's true. It's true.
Exactly. I agree 100%. You know my views on politicians. And here we go from our good friend Bagara. That's a lot of ammunition. Yes, it is. That's about 50,000 rounds of deadly rubber balls. That could, it's the same as a 308 apparently, or a 338 Lapua. It's just beyond pathetic. So, yep, it just dumbfounds me, because really, this is a plastic gun. It's not hard to tell this is a plastic gun. But why are they scared of these, Jason? Why do you reckon they are scared of these plastic guns? Do you think they're scared of them, or they don't know what to do, or it's being woke? PC pussies. What is this whole thing about these gel blasters? When you get the box, it says from 4 years and upwards. For God's sake, every other country, even China, they're made in China. China will allow them. The Communist Party of China, that Victoria embraces, even allows them, but they ban them in Victoria.
Yeah, I know what you mean. To get a couple of super chats. Do you want to read them first before we go into that?
Oh, yes. So I went on a bit of a tangent. So we got JR here, early start tonight. I missed the first 16 minutes. Yeah, I'm very sorry. It is about the daylight savings. We're trying to figure out what the best time is. Jason's in New South Wales. I'm in Queensland, so there's an hour between us. So we try to split the difference tonight. So guys, do tell us. Even email Jason and me and tell us what time you prefer, because I'm pretty easy going. Whatever time you guys want to start, I'll start. So
we'll probably do, even if we say at 7:30, we'll probably do 7 p.m. During when non-daylight saving time, and then we'll see for daylight saving time. But I guess 7:30 is probably okay.
Yeah, we try to split it in half tonight. And Joseph Sherman, $20. Thank you very much. Get yourself some more ammo, mate. Looks like you spilled some. Yes, it definitely does. But the stuff is so cheap, I don't care. It dries up into little balls.
Yeah, but getting on to why they're doing it, mate, I'm just beggars belief. And someone did say, I've noticed I guess the consensus on social media, just a lot of people have been saying, and I kind of agree with that. It's really pains me to say this, that Australia just really has gone to shit, man. It really has. It's just not its former, go lucky, natured country where we look after each other, we help each other. It's just really gone to shit, man, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. And that seemed to be the consensus that I was reading on the internet. It's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Banning this, banning that. What happened to a bit of competition? I mean, I didn't even know the other day. My mate's into UFC. UFC's even banned in New South Wales. You can't even watch a UFC fight. So when they came here, you got to go to Melbourne to watch UFC. So again, Victoria gets the money. They get the security money. They get the venue money. They get the fighter money. They get security guard money. I mean, our state misses out on all that revenue because for some godly reason, everything is banned. Crossbows are banned. Probably they'll start licensing bows very soon, which would not surprise me even in the slightest. Everything's banned, look that way, banned, fireworks, banned, semi-autos, banned, pump action shotguns, banned, gel blasters, banned, everything's banned.
Oh, it is. It's just getting beyond a joke because, I don't know, I sound like a boomer or whatever, but I remember the days we used to, as kids, run around with skyrocket guns and shooting each other with bloody skyrockets. And Joey guns, and we used to make our own homemade crossbows. But Jesus, you did that now, the parents would be in prison for 50 years. You just can't do anything anymore. It's just beyond ridiculous.
Yeah. And someone said here too, this is a good one. I'm not sure if I read this tweet last week, but this is some guy named Spike Cohen. He said, common sense gun control is we the people armed with whatever weapons we wish to, deciding, and we decide what guns we'll allow the government to have, man. That's what, when did it happen that we just elected them and then they decided to take over and sort of start ruling and trampling on the rights of people? I mean, how did we allow that to happen? I guess it's our easygoing nature that has allowed that to happen, man. And it's really tragic that, I speak to some old people that are now in their 70s and 80s and they can't even recognize this country today. And, guys that ran up onto the beach only to be slaughtered for our rights would be rolling over in their graves today, mate, at the way the politicians treat people. Everything's banned. If you can't even, someone's dying from cancer and they're, in all types of agony. You can't even end your own life if you want to. Can't do anything, man. I've got to sit there and suffer in pain. They've got, I won't go into it too much, but, you can buy your cigarettes, $50 a box, but all of a sudden, no, you can't have vaping products now. Thankfully, I don't smoke and probably not, both aren't good for you. But at the end of the day, this is what this government does. Everything's banned. All you can do is work, come home, sit on your ass at home and then do it all over again Monday morning, we've just become a very lazy, scared country. We're scared of our own shadow. And it's the consensus on social media was the once lucky country is now gone.
I must disagree with you in some ways. We're not all scared of our shadow. Only the weak and idiots are scared of the shadow, and they force their opinion on normal, everyday people that are good people, and they want just to be able to live their lives. And I've said this many times on this live stream and in my own posts that we only get one shot at life. Everyone should be allowed to enjoy what they want to do, as long as they're not harming other people. I'm no libertarian at all by a long stretch. I'm just totally neutral in all the political stuff, but you should be allowed to do what you want to do. If you want to take a plastic toy and run around and your kids to shoot each other and have fun with it, then they should be allowed to. It's that simple. And it is a real shame. I came over here 26 years ago from New Zealand, hoping that, knowing that this was a better country than New Zealand. And I got here and I hadn't even heard about Port Arthur. It was a non-subject in New Zealand. I got here to get back into shooting again because I was shooting semi-autos in New Zealand, and all of a sudden you couldn't get them. When I came here, it's like, oh dear, maybe I've made a mistake coming to Australia to live in 2008. We hadn't even heard of it. I didn't know about Port Arthur.
Do you want to go into and read that as well? The gel blaster. Would you want to start off with that? Even though we already sort of have, but do you want to read the article and like let them know what they're sort of trying to do? Or
Yeah, we'll read. I won't cut you off, so I'll just read it from here. The gel blasters from 2008, 2020. Gel blasters are declared as a regulated imitation firearm. Now, this is in South Australia. The sale possession of gel blasters will be subject to licensing and control under the Firearms Act, blah, 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 within a 6-month amnesty. So 6 months, what? So we're going to hand these things in 6 months. So what are you going to, are they get, there's no word of compensation. So are we going to get, or are they going to get compensation for these? Because a lot of guys, I talked to M1A1, I think, gel blasters, and they got guys coming in spending literally thousands of dollars on gel blasters. So all of a sudden, I assume in South Australia it's the same. And they've they spend all this money. Are they going to just have to hand them in and not get anything for them, which is wrong, totally wrong, because the government has deemed they're okay to sell, but now all of a sudden they do a backflip.
This is the thing. It's like maybe the quality, I haven't seen them for ages, so I know the quality of the ones you had, they just don't last very long. They're fairly cheap. I'm sure you can get expensive ones that are pretty good. But generally, they're not really going to last. Once they sort of break down, unless you can really sort of replace the parts yourself, in essence, they become useless. So they keep saying it's now a firearm. So what are you going to do? What, are you going to stamp some type of serial number on a plastic gun? And then when you normally... it's broken, you just sort of, if you can't replace it, you just sort of chuck it into the bin. This is an interesting one here, and I just found this. Maybe we'll share it. Looks pretty legitimate. You shared it to your page, but they've also got a GoFundMe now as well, which is pretty good. Now, Tac Toys, they obviously a gel blaster retailer in South Australia, so they said this is on 7th of the 10th, 2020, so just yesterday. Notice to all South Australian, Tac Toys is incredibly disappointed with the South Australian Police's decision regarding the regulation of gel blaster toys. Tac Toys is willing to put a large amount of resources forward to support the South Australian gel ball community, which is fantastic. With this, Tac Toys has allocated the sum of $50,000 to start legal proceedings and will allocate additional funds where required in order to fight the recent SAPOL declaration. So the South Australians can continue to enjoy a sport and hobby that ourselves and the community are so incredibly passionate about. We are advocates of rights to enjoy gel blasters and will spare no expense to fight for our hobby. I like that language. We are confident that if retailers and the community band together, we can fight this and win. We will implore South Australians to utilise the length of the 6-month amnesty period. Legally, you have zero obligations to hand your gel blasters today and have until April 7th, 2021. We are advising you to exercise your rights as we initiate legal proceedings against SAPOL. We will not stop. We will use many resources at our disposal and spare no expense to ensure this is overturned. Fuck, I like that language, dude. That's what SSAA and other organizations should be using, type of language they should be using. And the GoFundMe, which we'll probably post on the page, was only created 1 day ago and already almost $12,000 raised by 41 donors. So I will put a link actually in the YouTube comment here, guys, as well, under AHP Outdoors. So if you click on that, you'll be I've just posted it now. Actually, it's not letting me post links. Damn bastards. I'll do this. I'll take out the HTTP. I'll put a couple of dashes there. I just won't let me do it. Yeah.
You send it to me. I'll chuck them in the description afterwards. But
Cool.
okay, I've got a few things to lead on from that, but we'll just thank Joseph again, another $10 super chat. Australia still a penal colony. We don't have the right, we have privileges. Exactly. That's what Jason and I've always talked about. We do have rights, but Jason can explain this a lot better. He knows, he's more wordy than I am. Like prisoners, and granted or taken away from us in the line. So what do you think of that, Jason? Are we still a penal colony? Because it's turning into We are a penal
Probably.
colony.
I mean, people say we didn't fight for our independence, and maybe that has a lot to do with it. Americans wouldn't put up with this type of crap. So, you do see a lot of shooters going back to what you said. You do see a lot of shooters on there, which is quite sad, saying, shooters, dummies they are, some of them. Most of them are fantastic, but you do get the odd few that, it's a privilege to own a firearm. Well, not really. I mean, at the end of the day, if I don't have a criminal record and I meet the criteria, the government, under the legislation, has to give me a firearms license, right? Many cases have been fought and won by people that don't have criminal records that the government tried to stop from getting a firearms license. So under the current system, if I don't have a criminal record, right, I can get a firearm. That's plain and simple. There's no two ways about that. So I see that as being a right. Sure, if you break the law, then that right can be taken away. Same in America. People say, well, how is it a right? They've got a constitutional right. Sure, but if they're a felon, they've got to do a background check. If they're a felon, they don't get a firearm. Just because they've got a constitutional right to have a firearm, it doesn't mean if you're a felon, that constitutional right still applies. This is where a lot of people get it wrong. If I don't have a criminal record, I can get a gun license. They won't refuse me. They can't refuse me. And if they do, I fight it and I win. Simple as that. There's no two ways about it. It's like, I don't know how people can't grasp that concept. They either don't want to grasp it or they're licking the boots of government and the police. Well, okay, fine. You can do that, but that doesn't change the facts. Like, you can have your opinions, but the facts prevail every single time. No criminal record, I get the license. Simple as that. They've tried it on with many years ago. I did a lot of reports on this. Bikies and that were part of, just general clubs. They weren't even, the quote outlaw motorcycle gangs, but they didn't like the people that they associated with. So those people took the refusal for their gun licenses to the tribunal, and at least the ones I investigated, won those cases because they didn't have a criminal record. So again, I've got to get people, you've got to get out of this privileges business. You know what I mean? A right is to have or to do something under the definition. So again, a privilege is, as I say, only to a select community. Well, we're not really a select community because we're just like everyone else. If you don't have a criminal record, you get it. Simple.
Yep, I 100% agree. And I actually did work with a guy years ago that was associated with some bikies, the Finks Bikie Clubs down on the Gold Coast when I lived there. And he was a nice guy, and his best mate was a Fink bikie, and him and his family, even his daughter, was beyond harassed by the police. I would sit outside his house, all because like once a week he would go and have a beer at this bikie's house, and then they'd turn up, and his children were that scared to leave the house in the end because there was detectives sitting by the driveway watching everything he did.
Like I said, like if the government changes I guess the difference we are to America, if the government changes, it bans guns tomorrow, well, that's a different story. Anyone can do that. But you see that in the Democrats in the United States. They're often trying to change the Constitution, constantly trying to step on people's rights in regards to the Second Amendment. And somewhat they've been successful. Remember the assault weapons ban back, was it 2004, yeah. Back in the 90s? I can't remember the exact date.
I think it was 1994, I think, to 2004 for 10 years. And the son by Clinton. Dead man walking Clinton. The walking corpse, basically, he is now. But it was things like flash hiders and a mount for a bayonet. That's what they got them on. And that lasted 10 years. And it proved after 10 years that it stopped no form of gun crime. So the sunset clause was over and it just went away.
And, I'm thinking, and I'd like to know your, I guess, comments in the comments section on what you guys think, but, how on earth are we supposed to change appearance laws, get suppressors and those types of things, self-defense, just to name a couple of things to be able to get, right? If they're banning gel blasters, toys, what chance do we have to get any of that? Like, it's just, I hate to say it's not going to happen, man. I know me and you talk about it a lot. And for 10 years, I've talked about this, and year after year after year, I just start to think, man, why? It's good stuff to talk about, and we should be talking about it. But again, when are the results going to flow on from? I mean, for 15 years, I've been voting for pro-gun parties. And again, I'm just looking at my hands. I just can't see any tangible benefit or what we've actually received from me continuing to do that. And I will continue to vote for them. because no way I could vote for the Greens, the Nationals, Liberals, or Labor Party. Definitely not. But again, where are we going to see some changes, man? The time is now. Like, if this goes on, because it's already been 25 years since Port Arthur, this goes on for another 5 to, I'd say 10 years, man, it's well and truly done and finished. Forget about it. You're never going to make any changes. They'll well and truly be entrenched in stone if they aren't already. And the new breed of shooters that are already growing up are totally used to this type of system. They don't know any different. They don't know Port Arthur. They're not as passionate as me and you, because even though I was only young in Port Arthur and you're a little bit older than me, but at the end of the day, I was even fairly young. So I've still got a bit of an affinity towards these issues. But these young whippersnappers that are now 18, they don't know about this at all. They don't care about it. They just want to get their gun license, and they're not passionate about fighting. And this is what will be the end of the shooting sports if we allow it to happen.
Yep, I 100% agree with you there. So going from what you're just saying to, I've had so many messages, Jason, about what are the organisations doing? What are they going to do? Are they going to do anything? Well, quite frankly, I've just been trying to find it. A guy sent me messages he sent to WSAA, and basically all they sent back, I think it's been taken off my site actually by Facebook, but they basically just said, go join a club and enjoy your gel blaster sport. So we all know what that means. Join our club and we'll look after you. And then we had this one here, which I think is a totally and disgusting post from Shooters Union hours after it happened. All they posted up, not this is a bad thing, we shouldn't, nothing about that. All it was here, go get your gun license in South Australia, go get it. And what a coincidence. You got to join a club. Absolutely pathetic, if you ask me. All I can see, my opinion is, they are just rubbing their hands together, as I said in the post, salivating at the bloody mouth. Look at all these new paychecks we're going to get. They got it now in South Australia, belong to a club. What a coincidence. We are a club. I'm sorry, not good enough at all. And we talked about this before. I know Peter's in the chat about the NSC. I haven't seen so far what they are going to do about it. If they're going to fight this to try and knock it on its head. But by what I can see so far, mate, the other two organisations aren't going to do it at all.
Yeah, but, also too, they can't be taking up every single fight. That's the reality of the situation. You've got to, carefully, select sort of what sites what issues you're actually going to take on. You can't take on every single fight. But it's good to see also TAC Toys willing, having, and that's what I've been. Listen, I can handle if you don't get any results, right? But what I can't handle is weak language. And this TAC Toys one is very in your face, very to the point. And yeah, we're going to exercise our rights. Don't hand them in until you absolutely have to. And hopefully by that time, there's some sort of legal action to put maybe an injunction or to again, because if they're not firearms, if you can prove they're not firearms, then people should be allowed to have them, which we know they're not firearms. Obviously, we've seen many cases. Brad Towner from Armored Heaven, we've already seen this unanimous jury decisions in 26 minutes. They decided to make an example of Brad Towner and Armored Heaven. $125,000, $150,000 later, lost employment, lost relationships, lost homes, you name it. And in a record 26 minutes, a jury says he's not guilty. And then the New South Wales Registry, the potatoes there, and in the potatoes in the police force are still go, oh no, but it's still a firearm. Mate, beggars belief with these idiots, eh? Like, that's why, no disrespect to anyone. I've seen it on Instagram from even people that I follow. Oh, the thin blue line and, cops are the best and fucking give me a break, man. You know what I mean? And these people that actually sometimes are manufacturing firearms in Australia. So obviously it's there in their best interest to suck up to the police because they want to sell guns to idiots like me. But again, all the time, I just simply say no. The cops get given a direction. They've got to, at the end of the day, if you want to keep your job, you've got to do it. If you actually have guts, you'd quit and say, this is not what I agree with. This is not what I signed up for. But most of them won't. Most of them won't do anything. They won't stand up for people. They won't stand up for the people that pay their paychecks. So very sad, but good from TAC Toys, and we'll put that GoFundMe in the comments, and we'll share it to our Facebook pages. And mate, even if it's $20, guys, $5. It's directly from TAC Toys. So if they can putting in $50,000, it just says here they'll be sparing no expense. And I've got no fight in gel blasters. Like I said, never own one, never plan to really own one. Doesn't really interest me. But, shit, man, I'm probably one of the biggest fighters for these types of things, me and Aaron. And, I know Aaron's got a couple, but I never have. But it's not the point, is it? It's not the point. This is where we've got to start banding together. It's gel blasters. Then it's the 8 guns. Well, now 10 guns in Western Australia. Then it's something else in New South Wales. Then it's in Queensland. We're just look how this is quickly moving. New South Wales did it. South Australia. Then you'll have Victoria. Then Western Australia. And then,
we're going to Queensland with this.
If Western Australia hasn't banned them already.
They have. Yes, I must agree with you on some of that. But, it's just I actually forgot what I was going to say. I'm just dumbfounded by all of this.
I've bamboozled you of my witty knowledge.
Yeah, you have your world of knowledge. Well, this here I was going to say about Andy. The firing mechanism is a gel blaster, compresses air to fire a projectile, therefore meets a threshold to define a firearm. Well, no, it doesn't. A compressed air must reach 90 psi, and from what I read about this week, the technical specs, they don't. Off-the-shelf guns do not reach 90 psi, so it doesn't actually fall under compressed air. So this is all. I know what this is. This is they brought in the laws. They want to get rid of them, like every other state apart from Queensland so far, and they don't want to ban them because they might come underneath the assumption that we got to refund these people. They've brought this. We said they can own it, and they've brought it, so we're gonna have to refund them. So let's just make it. We're not going to ban it, but you got to get a gun license, right? So you got to get a gun license, and we're not banning it. So just go get a gun license. All good, just like a paintball gun. So
but really, so I've got to put a gel blaster in a gun safe, man. It makes absolutely no sense. And what happens when they break? What, you've got to go hand it into police? Like, really? I mean, this is just fucking beggars belief, man. I'm just absolutely stunned, that people could be this stupid, but they clearly are. And these guys actually handle guns on a day-to-day basis. Very scary indeed. I wouldn't give these guys a carrot to carry around, really, if they actually seriously think a gel blaster is actually a firearm. This is just scary. I can own a 50 cal rifle in New South Wales, but I can't own a gel blaster. I mean, this is just mate, don't have any words, mate. Don't even have any words,
mate. You can own a 50 cal as long as it doesn't have a folding stock or a collapsible stock.
Well, exactly.
And we can't even own. We can own a toy, but we can't own a 50 cal. So it's just all back to front. But we've said this many times. Why we don't want uniform gun laws, because you know what they're going to do? They're going to take the worst from every single state and implement it across the board. But
probably wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, getting back to what we were saying before about the organisations, there was one. I sent a whole heap of messages from a guy talking to the SSAA, and all they could say was the SSAA. I posted it up on my site. There was a whole heap more, but I couldn't put them all into one post. Well, it's basically just saying, go join your club, join a club, and you'll be all good. Not, this is wrong. Join a club. So you can read between the lines, can't you?
Yeah. I just put the link. They gave me a small link to the GoFundMe, guys. So just check it out in the comments when it actually comes up from AHP Outdoors. See if that actually works. Let me know, guys. Almost $12,000. And you know what? Hopefully that's what we're going to do. And great deal to TAC Toys for, putting it out there and actually wanting to get something done and actually sparing no expense to fight it. But, these things are expensive. I mean, the court cases are expensive, and this is probably a lot of money for them to dedicate to this cause, especially with the I'm not saying no chance of winning, but not knowing what's going to happen. Where will $50,000 be, sort of pissed down the drain? We don't know. But at the end of the day, we've got to fight. We lose our money, we lose, but you've got to try. You've got to do something. If they're doing it to this, people think this is a non-issue. Who cares about gel blasters? But they don't realize that the next thing is, that's already happening anyway. They're banning other firearms. So, I mean, again, have they ever given us one firearm back? No, but it's ban, and it never ends.
Well, I just want to thank Aussie Capitalist here. South Australia allows unlimited Cat A and B magazines, unlike other states, but now ban a toy. Exactly. They can have 30-round magazines in their pump-action 223 Remington 7615, but they can't have toys. Queensland here, we can have toys, but we can't have 30 rounds. And there's actually a loophole, and they've been bullied and harassed by the authorities because there is a loophole where it's not actually law. This is what I've been told. I'm not saying this is set in stone. There's actually a law in Queensland. That's not actually right. We can have higher capacity mags. It's just a thing that's implemented or some crap, but it's not actually law here in Queensland. But I'm not going to say do it because I don't recommend that at all because they'll probably crack down on you. So everything's just up in the air. Now, do we want unified laws and then we get the worst of everything? Or do we want all mix and match and everything's up in the air and no one knows what way is up sort of laws? It's a really hard thing. I reckon we have the messy laws in the world. One of the messiest laws.
Yeah. And look at their article. It says on your Facebook page, like their little propaganda from the SAPOL says, if you have a gel blaster, you have a firearm, and it's a guy holding a gun. I mean, let's get serious. You know what I mean? This is just, just crazy, man. It's crazy. But one of the not good things, is very bad actually, that I wanted to bring up that people forgot about. Did anyone see this from a couple of days ago? Aaron posted it. I don't think I did actually. From Gun Control Australia. Listen to this. Right when this gel blaster stuff's happening, we're currently in consultation, right, with Home Affairs about reforms to imported firearms and weapons. So again, gun organisations being consulted in this particular issue as well. They're not saying what it is. Innovation is a hot topic, and it brings up issues with the classification of firearms. This is the way they get you now too. They don't have to compensate you. They just put it to a higher category, knowing full well 99% of people aren't going to satisfy the criteria for that category. And then you've got to hand that gun in and get pretty much 12/5 of nothing for it, because no one's going to want to buy it, because people that can get access to category C and D will actually buy real category C and D firearms like semi-automatics. Then it goes on to say Australia's systems of arm classifications is outdated. New high-powered rapid-fire firearms are incorrectly classified because of this type of gun that wasn't available 2 decades ago when our classification was introduced. We need classification laws overhauled before import laws are changed. So again, what they're trying, so you know what that means? Pretty much lever actions and straight pulls are on their chopping block, guaranteed. And they're in consultation with Home Affairs, so direct links straight to the government. Scary stuff, guys. Very scary stuff indeed.
Yep, I'll just bring this up here so people can see it quickly. So this is it here, and they're talking about, they're still banging on about rapid fire, which is, we know is an absolute bullshit clickbait term, and high-powered rifles, which is completely pathetic. So what do you class as high-powered? Now, a 223 can go faster than a 308, but a 308 is bigger than a 223.
Yeah, well, we know they've been wanting to go after ever since that Adler debacle, they've been going after it. I mean, we know what's happening, mate, and they're in consultation. Where's the firearms industry being consulted? But who are we going to have? SSAA, advocating for us behind closed doors? Or come on, give us a break, man.
Behind the scenes.
you know, it's scary, man. It is really scary that the things that are happening at the moment. And you know what? It's actually it's good in a way because it's brought the shooting community, at least the shooters, together outside the guise of the organizations. Some of them have been doing a good job on taking them, trying to make them at least accountable for their decisions through tribunal action. But again, the ones that have got the biggest money and the most money, well, they're just twiddling their thumbs, or they get the phone call. Hello, yeah, we're banning this gun. Can you please tell your members? Oh, yeah, mate, no worries. Oh, how you going, guys? Just another gun ban in their next, monthly annual magazine. No fight, no balls, no nothing. And even with people like me and Aaron and a lot of people out there on the internet, letting them know that they're not happy with the current situation, it doesn't faze them at all because, again, the genuine reason they just keep building with new members. You have to join a club. They're never going to get rid of that shit. That's their lifeline, man. That's their business model. They're never going to get rid of that. They love it.
Well, we saw that with the two organisations this week. One was, here's how to get your gun licence. Get your gun licence. Nothing about how bad it is. And we got SSAA say we recommend going get a gun licence and you can carry on enjoying your sport. For fuck's sake. Man, okay, this comes out another thing I've written down here. Who uses gel blasters? Okay, to me, it's a family sport. So many people have contacted me. It's father and sons or father and daughters or an entire family, mum and dad and kids, going out and enjoying these gel blaster games. It comes down to money. Who's going to spend for a 7-year-old kid who can't even get a gun license, for God's sake, anyway, not even a junior's license, to go and get a gun license, spend $1,000 on the whole debacle, which I've said many a times, the gun licensing process is a fucking joke in Australia because it's just, I'll give it to anybody. And we've proven that where the guys have gone and used their illegal guns against their spouses and that, and who have been criminals, and it's all slipped through the cracks. So what parent is going to spend $1,000 per kid to go get a gun license for a $200 gun and then pay a yearly subscription to some club just so the kids can shoot these plastic toy guns they're going to fucking break within 2 weeks?
Even maybe the better ones probably aren't going to break in that time, but you got to. But this is the whole point. They know people most likely 90%, 80%. I mean, I'm just estimating here that they know people aren't going to do that. They go, I'm not going to go get a gun license for this thing. And they'll just hand it in, which is what they want people to do. They want them to spend money on a safe shooting course. They want people to spend money on a membership. They want them to wait. How long is it to get a gun license now in South Australia? I don't know. Anyone got their gun license from South Australia? Please let us know in the comments. So there's all these expenses of probably what? A membership's $100 a year, $80. You safe shooting course $150. And then a 5-year license, another $200. Mate, you're already up to almost $500 just to go and do that. You have a family of 4 people, that's $2,000. Again, this is their whole point. They're not stupid, these people, man. They've been concocting and colluding in this for quite a while. They've just decided to pounce now. And remember recently they did say, and this only came out probably, a month ago, less than that, which we did speak about. That was in Tasmania, wasn't it? They know who has the guns by who has the memberships. Remember? We spoke about that. So they were getting the details of club memberships from the club saying, hey, please provide the details of all your members because most likely they've got gel blasters. And then they write to everyone trying to strong arm and bully them in to handing in their gel blasters. I mean, these arseholes know no bounds. That's why when I see all this blue, what is it? Yeah, police. Mate, all crap.
Blue Lives Matters.
Yeah, crap, absolute crap. Sorry. When you start treating us properly, we'll give a fuck about what happens to you. Until then, I couldn't care less. Because you treat us with disdain, and we're trying to work with you. And you know what? I didn't done anything wrong, man. So stop treating us like a pack of idiots. Until you do, I don't feel guilty because I haven't done anything wrong. You have.
You know what it all comes down to? Fucking the politicians and winning votes. Nothing is better than winning a vote than saying we're keeping you safe. And I reckon that's what it all comes down to. the police commissioners have to look at because they're commissioned police. They bow down to the politicians, and it just one big long clusterfuck, if you ask me.
Yeah, and someone said, what about in WA? It's like $2,000 per year to keep a firearms license. I don't know. Is that true? Let us know, guys, what the costs are in Western Australia. Is it Racelin or Racelin? Majir 2010 says, I wonder if SSAA insurance will cover gel blasters. Well, I don't think so, mate.
That'll be good on my end. I've had 4 of them given to me by Nick Judge, who owns a gel blaster company, and all 4 of 1 caught fire and 3 just stopped working within days.
Yeah, and Aussie Capitalist says, how am I going with my license, mate? I checked it again this morning. Still nothing. Applied on February 11th or 10th, 2020. License expired roughly 22nd April. Still nothing, mate. I'll be at Christmas having my Christmas pudding, and I probably still won't have my license back by then. Just totally useless. Total, absolute breakdown of a public service. I mean, you just can't get any worse than this. I mean, how on earth is this allowed to happen? But I know some good successes with guys I referred to, local members. I know one guy, unfortunately, didn't have a good result. He had an issue when he was 18. He's been to see a lawyer, and they think he's got a good chance. You know, it was a serious offence, but only an accessory to a serious offence. He was 18. It was 14 years ago. He applied, and unfortunately, the commission has made it. As you know, the commissioner's discretion has made discretion that he can't get it. His license. So he's gone to see a few lawyers to see what they did. 2 of them said great chance. One said probably not a good chance of getting it. So at least if he gets an answer about how long he has to wait. And this guy just seemed like a young guy that did the wrong thing. Like, I don't want bad people to get firearms. I really don't. But at the end of the day, he was 18. The guy's now 33. I mean, you know, it was the offence was in late 2006, early 2007, 13 and something years ago. So at the end of the day, you know, I hope he gets it. He seemed like a nice guy. I spoke to him 4 or 5 times, but it took actually longer than a year for them to even give him the answer. And they called him after about 4 weeks after he went to his local member and the police minister, and they said, "Oh, we're just calling you up," because when he rang me, he goes, "We're just calling you up because you know you've been ringing every week, so we just wanted to tell you personally." It's like, yeah, of course you are. The only reason you're ringing me is because I went to my local member, and you're forced now to respond to me to give me an answer about his license, and that's all he wanted. But I bet you what happened? They put it in the too hard basket because, well, no one wants to make a decision, because if this person does something bad with a firearm, it's going to be like that guy in Borkham Hills where the commissioner gave him a permit. He shot himself and his kids and killed all 3 people. Only 6 months later for the ex-wife to commit suicide based on the death of her children. So, yeah, a very bad situation. Again, but the 10-year exclusion period has passed. So by their own legislation requirements, he's eligible for a firearms license. So at the end of the day, listen, I get it. They don't know him from a bar of soap. They're just making a judgment call. Their judgment calls in the past obviously have not been the best. So it went in the too hard basket pile, and then he just kept calling and they just didn't want to answer. So, and I was like, well, if they hadn't have actually looked at it, right, up until the member got involved, I said, well, shit, they act pretty quick, don't they? They can get you a refusal within 4 weeks of you going to a local member. So they obviously can work fast when they want to.
Exactly. It's all about PR and covering everyone's asses. Hey, but that's everyone in the government departments, really, isn't it? No one's to blame. Everyone else is to blame apart from you. Now, I've got a couple of questions here I want to answer. Is Broken Blaster, Gel Soft Enthusiast, worked at M4A1 at St. Mary's. So worked, does that mean you lost your job? Which is a really sad, because, hey, people are losing their jobs over this stuff, and they just don't fucking care. These are people's livelihoods as well. And then we do have a super chat here from Ollie. We'll bring it up very soon. But here's something because I want to talk about. Let's find it here.
Let me just say one thing while you're looking for that. Nick says, is it just a long wait or have I upset someone? Yeah, probably upset someone, dude. Wouldn't surprise me. They've put my license right to the back of the pile. Wouldn't surprise me. It's just annoying because when you go to the shop and you buy ammo and stuff, or you dispose of a firearm, they've got to go do the checks. It's an extra like 15, 20 minutes, especially when you're in a busy shop. So, yeah. I don't know, man. Like I'm at a point where, listen, if it gets to Christmas, listen, I don't really care because I've got my license at the moment. But you know what? I should be pressing straight to the member as well because you know what? They're not going to get any better unless we actually do that type of thing. So I'll leave it till about Christmas. If it's still not done, then I'll probably maybe early December when I get back from the Riverina, I'll just start that ministerial action as well. And again, like I said, they keep constantly getting complaints. People are going to go, again, registry. Oh, we've got complaints about registry, license renewal times. Mate, you got to complain. So that's probably what I'll do. Because of some of my license too, some of my categories, they're a bit different than category A and B and stuff like that too. So, but, I haven't heard from them. They haven't written to me. They're not asking for any more information. I've rang them. Do you need anything? Are you waiting on something? Have you written to me? No, it's all good. She goes, mate, no problem. You just got to wait. I go, how much? Dude, I applied in February. Like, really, does it really take 8, 10, almost 9, 10 months now to issue a currently issued New South Wales firearms license? It's just a renewal. Tick the button. That's all you got to do.
Exactly. This is actually the one that I was actually trying to find. Sorry, it came up with another one from Broken Blaster. I lost my job. So he lost his job working in a jail blaster shop, which is extremely sad because some politician or some police officer was scared of a plastic toy. So now Broken Blaster is out of work and he can't feed his family, basically. I don't know if that's a situation, but that would be the situation for a lot of people. And just before the show, I had a good friend of mine over and we were just having a drink and he brought his little son over. He was 7 years old and he loves gel blasters. Him and his dad are out the back having a lot of fun, lives on 2 acres, and they're just shooting cans out of the back door, not doing anything. So this is same as what Big Toe said. My kids love shooting cans in the backyard. So now that's all gone. So once again, I'm all about the family thing. Everyone's got bonding with your family, with your kids is so important in life. And here we go. Gel blasters, father and son enjoying themselves. Now you can't fucking do it because your 7-year-old kid has got to go get a gun license that he's not going to get because he's not old enough.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. Right? This is half the problem. The kids that are playing with these. So now kids that was it New South Wales, the junior permit, 12, 14, 12, I think it's 12, right? So now they can't go out, right, and enjoy the sport either unless you're a minimum of, again, it's going to depend on what state you're in. If you've got different ages for getting that junior's permit, and don't forget, this is the biggest problem. What we're not getting to is the kids won't be able to get one without the parent getting a firearms license too because they're going to have safe storage. So if some kid wants to play with it and dad's not really interested in getting a gun license, they're going to miss out. Because don't forget, with the junior's permit, generally, obviously the parent, aka mum or dad, because if they've got guns in the home, will have to get the license as well to have a gun on site, then get a safe. And then who's going to do that if dad's not interested in firearms to go get a gel blaster, or a firearms license to have a gel blaster? And anyone under that age is now not going to be able to use it because they're not going to be of age to get that junior's permit.
Well, this is the other thing that I've been getting. I've had probably 60, I'm not shitting you, probably about 60 emails and messages from people from South Australia. Aaron, how do we store these? Nothing say, I'm looking at it again here while you were talking. I'm looking at it and nothing says how they're going to store these. You got to buy a $500 safe for a $100 plastic toy that every other country shoves them in a toy or a toy chest or leaves it on the floor. But here,
you'll have to do everything that you have to do to get a firearms license. That means register it. That means you'll have to store it in a gun safe. It's going to be the whole works, man. I don't know how on earth they're going to stamp a serial number on a bit of plastic, right? Honestly, honestly, the South Australian police, they need to undergo some very, very serious retraining right now. And honestly, they need they need to go see a psychiatrist and get tested, because anyone that thinks this is a firearm, it's beggars belief, man. It's just they need to get tested, because they're obviously not very sane people, and insane people should not be carrying firearms around in public if they actually think a gel blaster is actually a real firearm.
Well, I'm sorry. If you think this is a firearm, a flimsy plastic toy that I can tell, and everyone here probably can tell, this is a toy. If you can't distinguish that's a toy compared to a real one, you're not a fit and proper person to carry a firearm every day around the public, as far as I'm concerned.
And you can hear it, guys. If you can hear it, I can in my headphones. When he's grabbing it, even just when he moves it, you can hear it's plastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you hold it like this and don't move, you might get it. If he was moving and trying to, say, commit a robbery with that, which obviously we know he wouldn't, if he was, as soon as you move that, you hear it's clanky. You can hear it's plastic.
Can you guys hear this? Here, freeze, give me your money. Oh, shit, you've sprung me. It's a plastic toy. Oh, I'm dead by the security guard. Hey, it doesn't take a brain surgeon. This is plastic piece of junk. And it doesn't take much. Even like looking at this now, this comes across as a bit of cheap plastic. It's just junk. It doesn't even work. The charging handle thing to make it work is bloody broken. It's snapped off.
One guy in the comments above said he'll be getting his firearms license, which I guess helps the cause anyway, in regards to getting more shooters into that currently don't have gun licenses, getting them into the sport. So that's a good thing, I guess, in that respect. But it's beggars belief. I don't even know what to say. But mate, we're running out of time. We'll have to hit some questions here, dude. We haven't got any people's questions up from the chat. If you want to pick some random ones, we'll do that.
Just before we say that, is they want to register these guns, and I reckon it's because they don't want these are bridging the gap between toy guns and having fun to real guns, bridging the gap between young people when they get older. Oh shit, they're going to enjoy these guns, these plastic toy guns. They're going to want to get real guns. We don't want that. So what do? You got to get a real gun license to have the plastic toys, which opens them up to having a real gun.
Yeah.
So more people are going to have real guns.
So Speedyism said too, and which is part we haven't thought about as well, when he said $2,000 per year. Don't forget it's gun club organisations. Don't forget Dad'll have to do, unless you're hunting. Well, you're not Dad. You're going to be able to gel blaster on a hunting genuine reason, right? And then you don't forget, if you're on some states around the country, I'm not sure about South Australia, but even in New South Wales, for example, as well, you got to do your mandatory shoots. So what do they do? Do they turn up to their local gun club with their gel blasters shooting targets at 50 meters? What do they do?
The poor little buggers won't even see over the bench.
Oh man, you just can't make it up. Like, what do? Do you rock up? Do you shoot a 50-meter target at your local range with your gel blaster? I mean, what do you do when you got to do your 6 to 8 shoots? I mean, or 4 to 6 shoots, depending on what state you're in.
Oh, look, I don't know if you can see it. Look, you made the target wet. You won the contest. Man. Just a complete joke. Here's something quite funny, actually. From Big Bang Ben, Queensland Police lost my PTA to register an unregistered rifle 3 times. I have no faith in the system. I don't blame you, because the 1996 amnesty has never gone away. So if you have an unregistered rifle, you can take it in without being prosecuted. And if I'm no lawyer, but my understanding is if the cops pick you up in an unregistered rifle, you can just say, I'm going to a gun shop to get it put on my gun license. And they've lost it 3 times as PTA. Pathetic. And we pay these people. You're a paying customer, Big Bang. You're a paying customer. They should, you go buy something from a shop, this sort of crap would not wear it at all, would it? Consumer law.
I mean, the powers that be, like I said, the powers that be in the police, they think this is a firearm. Like I said, I don't think they're a fit and proper person to be a police officer. I just don't think that's the case, because we can quite silly. They don't have the, they don't have the capacity to think clearly, to think rationally, and those types of people, like I said, should not be carrying firearms. It's very scary that someone would be out there with the provision in mind that this is a firearm and treating it like a firearm. Like I said, the selection process from getting people into these jobs at that level should be seriously scrutinized, because it's just, I don't want people carrying firearms that clearly don't have the aptitude or know how to understand what is and what is not a firearm. And that could get someone seriously into trouble. And you remember that years ago, a guy, he was training for the armed services. Remember this? I can't remember which state it was. Might have been Victoria. Could have been Queensland, I'm not sure. And he was doing a bit of fitness training out in the park, and he had the welded bar. It was welded into the shape of a handle, because that's how you normally got to carry the firearm in the army. And he had his backpack on, and he's just running, because he was doing some fitness training, and he was running up and down the park backwards and forwards doing pusher. Somebody called the police on him, had him on the ground with his hands on his head, and it was just a welded metal bar, like it's in, okay, it was in the shape of, when I say firearm, it looked like a coat hanger, just because he wanted to get into the armed services, and he was training for what he needed to do. So people calling the cops, you got chopper support, you've got it was just a metal bar welded with a handle, so he could simulate what he was doing. He would need to do in the field when he got into the army. So I mean, it's just beggars belief, dude.
Well, just down the road from me, there was that famous case from the Logan Village police. And in Logan Village, they were 3 people, so 2 guys and a girl, were shooting rifles, plinking guns. And before you knew it, it was on a farm, legal size and everything. Helicopter. My friend was at the garbage dump next door. All they heard was, "Get on the fucking ground," blah, 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 from the police, cars everywhere. The police helicopter, the whole 9 yards. Everything, like the entire Brisbane police force was on top of them. Handcuffed them. Channel 9 had it all over the news. Handcuffed, dragged these 3 people away. They were all legal shooters, licensed shooters, shooting on a private property, all legally. Not one word of an apology.
Yeah. And Rob's Woodworking says here, there's all the police are brainwashed once they're, cadets. And they just follow it. They love the power. As I said, we need some serious retraining. And, before people actually get into these services, there should be some severe scrutiny on them to, reach certain key capabilities before they actually get the job. That's where we've actually failed in the past. And we just let basically anyone in with very minimal expertise. Sometimes they haven't had enough experience in life, and then they just always want to become a police officer or authoritarian types. But anyway, man, we're running out of time. Let's hit some questions, dude. Let's get some of those people out. Maybe some rapid fire if you got something there.
Okay, Joseph says the boating accident in time to look, but you can't have a boating accident with a plastic gun because it's going to float to the surface. That sort of deceives the point, doesn't it? And
anyways, let me say one thing, guys. Listen, we know it sucks. And they know we're good people. They know we're not going to break the law. But, like I said, you have to follow the law until at such time it changes. There's really no option. You can't afford. That's why I've never gone into gel blasters. I just can't afford to jeopardize my firearms license. So, that they know we're good people, and they know the average person will and the shooters will do the right thing. They know that. And that's why they try this stuff on, because they know they can get away with it. Very, very sad. They use the law and our good nature against us. It's just, we look this way, we're screwed. We look that way, we're screwed. Up, we're screwed. Down, we're screwed. Every way, which way we're being screwed. Front, back, up, down, left, and right. So follow the law until it's at such stage that it changes. We're not advocating for breaking any laws. Definitely not.
This is something else I was thinking about. Peter Telford saying, my 10-year-old son has an Iron Man hand gel blaster. You buy them for like $20 off eBay. It looks like an Iron Man's hand, not a firearm. It's a gel arm. So, yeah, I've seen those, just like the movies. So what, you're going to call that a firearm? A plastic toy glove that shoots gel balls, for God's sake?
Yep.
To me, this is all about the public image of Australia. We are the laughing stock. We're a complete joke. I know that, but I talk to a lot of people in the US and in Europe and in the UK who have YouTube channels, and it's regarded the Australian police are a complete fucking joke, an absolute joke. Even the UK that can have pump action shotguns and the straight pull AR-15s, they still think Australian police are a complete joke, but they just don't care about the image. They don't care about it.
Well, we let, as I said, we're seeing it in Victoria right now. We've let them get away with it, and no one's standing up. Yeah, so man, they'll keep pushing until. Listen, like I keep saying this, there's probably some crazy idiots out there, and people, you just can't push people too far because these people in Victoria may do something stupid. And then if it did happen, so, people fought back in regards to these lockdowns or whatever, and something seriously bad happened, and they'll be quick to blame the first person instead of what they did, which was push to people beyond their capacity to be normal and follow the law. You can only push people so far when they're depressed. I mean, people are already committing suicide. It's tragic what's happening in Victoria. But if someone did something, they'd blame them. Oh, it's their fault. They'd be, out come all the red roses and the candles and everything, not realizing, well, hang on, you pushed a lot of these people very, very hard. And some people will just crack under extreme amounts of pressure, extreme amounts of depression, extreme amounts of anxiety based on being stuck at home all the time. But, they'll never take responsibility for that ever. But anyway, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But in other words, fuck Daniel Andrews. That's my one.
Exactly. And here's exactly what we're talking about. Jiffy says, just going to buy a gun now because they want me to, even though I just want to play with the toy. So, fuck the toys. I'm going to buy a real gun. That's sort of backfired in their face, hasn't it? So they want to get rid of guns, but now they're forcing people who have toys to get the opportunity to buy a real gun. What do you think they're going to buy? A $100 plastic toy that's going to break within 5 days, or a real gun?
Yeah, and one guy said one here. I think it was just having a look. It was someone called Sexy Did. He says, I blame John Howard. Yeah, people don't understand what John Howard actually did and how successful he was at achieving it and alienating shooters from the general community. That will go down in history as the biggest travesty and a massive turning point for shooters in Australia. We don't really realize exactly how bad that actually was and the ramifications of that. And still, even after the guy kicks the bucket, they'll still be referring to John Howard. They're still doing it 25 years later. John Howard, you've even got Labor people saying, oh, John Howard's gun laws, fantastic, even from opposing parties. We're supposed to have a conservative party in the LNP. I mean, couldn't be the furthest thing from conservative. So, mate, yeah, and I think it was Aussie Shooter. Was it Aussie Shooter or Happy Hunter? I can't remember which one it was on there, saying, yeah, they're laying the groundwork to move to the USA or Texas. I mean, yeah, exactly. If you like your firearms and you've only got one life and, man, by the time you're 65, 70, you're probably going to be difficult to get around hunting and get into the Victorian high country and those types of things. You've really got, depending on your age, 20 years left, 30 years, 15, 10. You want to spend those productively getting firearms you like to shoot and own.
Yeah, settle down. I'm almost 50 and I'm feeling like that now.
Yeah, I mean, if I said you had to trek up hills have you seen those hills in New Zealand, man? They're like crazy. We've got to do some serious fitness work before we could go and hunt some red deer, tahr, or chamois in New Zealand. I mean, those hills are just up for kilometers. I mean, it's just, man, it's
I used to shoot on those hills. There's no way I get buggered walking to my letterbox, which is 200 meters away.
It's like Mount Everest, but in New Zealand. And a bunch of Mount Everest in New Zealand,
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. How can you register a gel blaster with no serial numbers? Well, a lot of air rifles that come into the country, because we are one of the only countries in the world to actually register air rifles. They're considered toys all around the world. The importer has to put on, which I assume they are have their licenses to do it, to put on their own serial numbers, because most air rifles don't have serial numbers, full stop.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they could do that with gel blasters if push came to shove, but I don't think it's going to happen, because everything we're saying is no, people aren't going to pay for this crap. It's just their way of banning it
Yeah.
without having to give compensation. That's what this is all over, banning with no compensation.
Yeah. Was it just trying to find somewhere here? Someone says about America. America's getting pretty hairy at the moment. Yeah, well, that's the retards from the Democratic Party. You know, looting, stealing, burning business down. It's certainly not the conservative or right wing people. They're at home, they're at home working. They've got to get home, and they can't afford to riot because they've actually got jobs and they've got to work. So. If you go to places like Texas, I mean, you won't see any changes in Texas, I don't think, for our lifetime anyway. I mean, very, very pro-gun, but probably not the most pro-gun state. You got places like Missouri.
Utah.
Yeah, Utah. Yeah, exactly, mate. They have had a lot of these things before Texas. So I think they've just introduced open carry. Probably it was a year and a half ago in Texas. People thought that was one of the most pro-gun states, but no. Utah, Missouri, those types of states, Arizona, were much more liberal in regards to firearms than they were in Texas. So yeah, just a bit of thing for you. I've got a mate that lives in Missouri, nice guy too. And you're speaking to a few people, Aaron, too, from a lot of the channels over in America, and they tell you about what's going on.
Yes, they do. And the week you go away on hunting, we got a very special guest coming up. I'm not going to say who it is or anything yet, but when you go away and you're enjoying yourself camping, I've got someone from the US coming on, another big YouTuber, and we'll talk about all this and talk about the logistics and the legalities in America, and bust a lot of myths that the dumb people in Australia, the lefties, not the gun owners, actually know. Well, some of the gun owners, because they, as we all know, there's a lot of FUDs here in Australia that have everything back to front and wrong. So we're going to bust a lot of those stories. So it's going to be very interesting. But I do want to thank Phantom for a $10 super chat. I really appreciate it. Youth permit on an A4 piece of paper. That is, you got to carry around with you where my license is a card. I asked them, why isn't the permit on a card? They said it's because the permit is not a license. Interesting. So what's the difference between a permit and a license?
One said, let me. This is a good one too, and I agree with this one big time. Raceland again, Raceland Majeri. Sorry, Majir, if I got that wrong. Sorry. America is the last stand for firearms owners. If they lose them, the rest of the world will follow suit. Yep, I couldn't agree more, dude. That's why when people ask me, why do you join the NRA? Why do you care about talking about American gun politics? Because you think if they don't have severe changes there, it's not going to embolden our politicians to push heavy further restrictions on us. Look at the gun control thing from Gun Control Australia. We just read not 20, 30 minutes ago. We're consulting with Home Affairs. So what, they're consulting with anti-gun groups about what gun laws they're going to put in and changing classifications. And that's the new way to ban firearms. We've been saying it for a couple of years now. Reclassify them to category C and D, because then they don't have to compensate, and two, that they know the average person's not going to be able to get that license. So they won't have to compensate you. They move it to a category that nobody can get. It's a win-win for the government, isn't it? You lose the gun, no compensation, and no one else can get it in the future. Mate, they're loving this. Classifications. Who would have thought that'd be the new way to ban firearms?
Yeah, we saw that all the way back from the OAF firearm, the straight pull, the very first one, all legal to come into Australia.
Yeah, the old Riverman OAF. Yeah, that was the first one. And they gave them out and started collecting them.
Yeah, all within months. And the one I reviewed on my old channel before it was taken down, they talked about how they were going to pay them out for the extra barrel, the Alan Swan barrel. Cost them like $800. Yeah, we're going to pay out for this, and that, and that. I talked to the guy not long after that, and they said they did a backflip and said, we're not going to pay you for the accessories. We're not going to pay you for the extra barrel. He wanted his barrel back. No, you can't have it. We've already destroyed it. He goes, well, you can pay me And Border Force said, good luck with that, mate. Good luck with that.
Looks like we've got someone was saying, was it Ross saying, smash the thumbs up button, folks? Yeah, agree. We've got that one thumbs down again. Somebody that agrees with the Gel Blaster brand that's got half a brain. So we've got one half a brain person watching that agrees with gun bans and they probably think Gel Blasters are actually firearms. But, mate, we've got 3 minutes to go. What do you want to do? Do you want to just hit a couple of rapid fires very quickly?
Yeah, we can get up to a couple. Here we go from Missouri. Our mate Bagara spoke to my friend in Missouri today, told him about the Gel Blasters ban. He was laughing and said his 14-year-old son bought a CO2 gun on Amazon and no one giving a shit. Awesome. Yeah. Now that is freedom. That's what it's like, guys. You can buy an air rifle. Your kid can go buy air rifles, no questions asked. And they don't have problems with kids buying air rifles over there. And you don't hear. I know a lot of people in the US. They don't have problems with people over there shooting up stuff with the air rifles and that.
Yeah, exactly. And I spoke to her years ago. I was in San Antonio. I was at the Alamo in Texas, and I spoke to one of the guys on the bikes. We got chatting. One of the police officers, really, really nice fella. You could just tell he had the interests of people at heart. And we sat and chatted for about 40 minutes right in front of the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas. Really nice guy. Got a lot of respect for those guys because they respect people's freedoms, unlike Australian police. Again, that's why most of them will never, ever, ever, until they start changing, get any respect from me. So, again, two different types of police, ones that care about freedom and look after the citizens and ones that don't want to take away your freedom.
Yeah, well, I was actually talking to a police officer in Vegas. Really nice guy. Loves the show. He could be watching right now. Awesome bloke. Awesome. And he just dumbfounded by the Australian police. And he told me the Australian police across the board are a complete fucking joke. And they are the butt of all jokes in their police force in Vegas. And they're not highly regarded at all around the world because of all this. And he said he actually advocates on his time off for citizens to conceal carry and home defense and teaches them how to defend themselves in their own home to firearms. A police officer going out and teaching people how to defend people to defend themselves with firearms in their own homes. Man, imagine you had that here. It doesn't even exist. It will never exist.
Someone said John Howard gave a thumbs down. It'd be nice if John Howard was watching, wouldn't it? Listen up, Johnny, you bastard.
yeah. No, he's collecting his what was it, $7,000 a week paycheck plus and a government taxpayer office every week. Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't give a fuck about you and me. He's laughing all the way to the bank.
And we've seen in America, someone just mentioned it, like Walmart and all this starting to drop guns and all that. But that's good on them. They can do that if they want to. But that just means more money for the local gun shops to make more money. Fantastic. And, mate, looks like we've had about 180 plus most of the night. It's been building nicely, so it's been good.
That's what I was going to say. We got it over 190. We almost broke our record tonight. But, guys, please tell us what times. I'm in Queensland, so we're an hour behind pretty much most of the other eastern seaboard. So tell us, what time do you want us to start? Do we going to keep us at 7 o'clock? Because we're about to end and we're actually getting our peak performance right now. So we just don't know. Just been talking about this tonight before we got on air. We don't know what time it is daylight saving because, once again, Bob Catter keeps bringing up about daylight saving because his cows aren't lactating or some crap. And if we change the time, and I think we should be same as New South Wales. I would love it to be later on in the night, same as New South Wales. I think it'd be fantastic. Get more done. So please tell us, sound off in the comments after this. Tell us what time do you want us to start? And look, we just got up to 191 people. That's a peak for tonight, and we're getting ready to end. So we just don't know. This is all a learning curve for Jason and me, this whole live stream. I've been doing it for a few months, and we never expected to get this big and be the biggest gun live stream in Australia each week. It's just been fantastic. And as I said before, it It's all because of you people. You guys are awesome. You guys have made the show, and I just absolutely appreciate everything. We got another live stream actually from Rod Fitzpatrick. I don't know if
It's
I
not a
can bring
live stream,
this.
it's a super chat, you goober.
Okay, yeah, sorry, super chat. I can't even find it here, but Rod says the Pope recently said, "quote USA should give up their rights and freedoms. It's for their own good. Don't forget the Pope is a Jesuit." I
I
just
don't even
see
know what
them.
that means. Sorry, I even let's have a look at it. What does it
I'm
mean?
sorry, I'm not taking any advice from someone who just from an organisation that just acquitted and flew over the biggest pedophile in Australia's history, old Al Cardle Patel, who has been raping children allegedly.
Well, hang on. I
And
wouldn't hang on. Don't say that because he did get off. So,
he
regardless
did.
whether he did or didn't, just sue it or just sue it means a member of a society of Jesus. I guess a group of God people. But yeah, I wouldn't. I'd stop what you're saying about that right now. I would if I was you. But anyway,
Yeah, well, yeah, it's allegedly. I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying he didn't. But yeah, I'm not going to take any advice from those people about giving up rights.
anyway, that's it, mate. Let's finish it up.
Exactly. Thank you so much, guys. Let us know in the comments what time you want us to start and where you're from so we can come to a happy medium, is basically the main thing we want to know. And thank you very much. I've got an awesome gun review coming out of a very rare gun. It's only a couple in Australia right now. So that'll be coming out in the next couple of days. Jason's just released another podcast. Links in the description. Go listen to his podcast. It is a very good show with a hunter. And we shall see you sometime next Thursday night in 7 days. We don't know what time. So we will see you then. So stay tuned and we'll keep you informed. Thank you very much. Good night.